Okay, the drivetrain on the Accumulator is made up of a series of vertical and horizontal wheels. To access the drivetrain, you remove the bolts from the cover and slide the cover through. Then you'll expose the chain, and then what we'll have is a series, like I said, of vertical and horizontal wheels on the drivetrain. There is a master link that you have to follow through until you come to it. As the chain's going through, the drive system is made up of a series of dogs. The dogs will open up on the top side, and as it's connecting to the chain, it must connect on the horizontal wheel, okay? If it connects on the vertical wheel, probably we will shear off the pins and you will break the chain. So as it's coming through here, it has to connect on the flat wheel. So it'll come up, it'll close and connect on the flat wheel. There are a few lubricant points on the bearings. Probably twice a year this should be lubricated, and the chain as well should be greased up twice a year by removing the cover and just applying grease to the drivetrain. This is the drive chain that makes up the system. Like I said, it's made up of a series of horizontal and vertical wheels, okay? The dogs will come through here and they have to intersect on this wheel. If they intersect on this wheel, they will slip over and your system will jam up. So the dogs have to intersect on this wheel. Important that we keep it lubricated. The ladders are hung off of these brackets here that come off of the bottom of the chain. On the end of the conveyor, we have a system, a spring take-up system, which allows the chain to breathe a bit. Flex in and flex out as required. It's two springs on one side. The other side will remove the covers shortly and show them, and it's just on the loop end. So as you're feeding the chain into the system, if it's required to move back and forth, it will. That'll allow the chain to breathe a little bit. Lifting the chain, all we need to do is undo the screws and the covers will lift back off. It's important that we mark all the covers and put them back in the same location because they are custom fabricated for each spot on the conveyor. The system is divided here. The outside loop is separate from the inner chase here, okay? Through this system here, the pipes will actually open and contract, okay? It's very important that we keep tension on the spring here through the adjustment nut. Okay, so as the chain loads up under pressure, when you have a lot of dishes on it, the system tends to bind down a bit. This system will actually come in a bit, and as you loosen the system off and take some of the load off, the system will actually expand a bit. Okay, the tube that's supporting the chain is made up with a series of flanges. These flanges have connections in them, and if the connections aren't perfectly lined up, what happens is the little brackets that hold the ladders will actually bind up on the chain, on the tube, and will stop the conveyor from rotating. It's critical that we check the nuts once in a while to make sure they're still tight and that the groove is actually completely lined up so that there's no chance that the little tab will jam up on the nut here. The system is made up of tubes. The tubes vary in length from about 4 feet to 2 feet. There's approximately 20 flanges on the system that we'll have to go around and check each one and just to make sure the nuts are tight. As mentioned, the tube is made up of a series of short and long tubes with flanges on them. When the flanges go together, it's critical that the groove is actually lined up perfectly. So as the chain is running through here, it doesn't jam up here. If we're twisted a little bit, it's going to catch and jam up the system. The ladders are connected with a J hook here. The ladders just simply sit in that little nest. They come off and they can be washed and they go back on. The ladders will swing away if there's no carriers on it because the center of gravity is away from the bottom of the conveyor. There's a counterweight on the top here, and once all the carriers are in place, the ladder will swing back and push against the bottom.